All right, thank you to our follower for this great tip request question asking about when is it okay for me to submit my application, or when is the best time for me to submit my application. In particular, they asked if PTCAS opens today on June 15th, is it okay for me to submit my application on July 1st? Absolutely, that is perfectly fine. I just wanted to kind of break down that process a little bit more and show you that there's kind of a wave of ways that we can submit our application. Um, More specifically, meaning if you're going to submit to one program, you don't have to submit to all the programs you're going to apply to, and I'll show you that in just a bit, okay? The first thing I wanted to start with are the deadlines. So deadlines here are listed. We've made posts about this before. August 1st and August 15th are the first two. And in general, the 1st and the 15th of each month are going to be the deadline dates. Unless those dates fall on a holiday or a weekend, then they'll be bumped to the next business day. Okay. So when we're looking here at these different programs, you have these criteria over here. It says priority deadline versus soft deadline close date. Okay. So there's a PTCAS deadline and then the soft deadline close date. Let's look at what the differences are between these different criteria. So let's just use University of St. Augustine. Okay, so if we click on deadlines, PTCAS application deadline is August 1st. This is the priority deadline, meaning that applicants who submit their application by this date will be given priority and will be reviewed first. And then application close date is December 15th. And they do participate in rolling admissions. So this is a sample of what the programs that you're applying to you should look at. Their PTCAS application deadline, their application close date, meaning that they're no longer accepting applications, and if they have rolling admissions. So these are things that you should be looking at when you're going through and reviewing these things. Okay, so this soft deadline close date in general is basically when programs are stopping, they're not allowing additional applications to come through. Okay, and this PTCAS deadline for programs is when their priority deadline is. Okay, versus for this program for the University of St. Augustine, Florida program, they have the application deadline of August 1st, and that's the final deadline, and it participates in rolling admissions. Okay, so that's it. Apply by August 1st, hard stop. Okay, and you can go through, and I highly recommend that you're familiar with these things. So that way you know if a program has a priority deadline, a final PTCAS deadline, and if they participate in rolling admissions. Those are things to look at. Now, when we go to our programs, so I'm going to look here at program materials and look at submit my application. Okay, so I've added 4 programs here, and I've got a couple of different criteria I'm going to look at. So Northern Arizona University, they don't even have a deadline. It just says rolling, which creates this positive pressure to say, okay, I should probably submit my application as soon as possible because there's not a specific date. And that's going to make you want to submit your application sooner. UNLV has a deadline of September 1st. Okay. So that's something that I want to keep in mind as well. And then these other 2 programs have later deadlines in November. Now, I obviously haven't completed my application yet, but as you complete your application and then you finalize the program materials, the program specific materials for that program, this progress bar is going to fill up. And then once you have this green check mark, you are able to submit to that program. So what I would highly recommend that you do is you look at your programs that you need, that you're applying to, and identify which ones have the earliest deadlines or have rolling admission, and you're going to make a priority of getting those applications done first. And then once this green bar is filled and you have the check mark, click submit as soon as you possibly can. Because you can still go back and work on these other programs, and then you'll click submit at the time for those programs. And that's the order of operations that we would take for those different submissions. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about UTMB and Regis until a little bit later, but I'm going to start with Northern Arizona University and then go to UNLV's program in terms of submission deadlines. You can obviously submit your application earlier than the submission deadline, and I highly recommend that you submit your application no later than 4 to 6 weeks before your earliest PTCAS submission deadline. Reason being for this, if we go here under deadlines, I want to read these different areas right here. Right up at the top, apply early. Many DPT programs have multiple deadline dates or operate on a rolling admissions process. The deadline indicates when your materials must arrive at PTCAS and not the program. You should e-submit your application as soon as it's complete and not wait for PTCAS to receive all of your transcripts or your references. Okay. And making sure that this deadline is when the program is wanting your application to be submitted or when they want your materials to be received and be completed. Okay. Because there are some programs that will say on their program specific page that this is the date that they need all of your materials in and completed in their application. So to provide a quick summary, make sure that you come look at the deadline page. Make sure that you're looking at the program specific page so you know exactly what their deadline dates line up with and what is expected of the status of your application when you submit. And then submit as early as you can. If you submit earlier, you're never going to have to worry if you're getting things done on time. I know this can be kind of difficult if you're retaking classes or you're taking the GRE. There's different things that will play into that. But knowing your plan starts with knowing when your deadlines are for the programs that you're hoping to submit to. Okay? Thanks, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like it, subscribe, or follow us on Instagram and YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you can be made aware when we post new content. And make sure to share this video with your friends so that way they're made aware of the deadlines process as well. Have a great day and happy applying.